Jai Gurudev and welcome to this week's summary for Yoga Vasishtha. This week we are going to see 18th of June till 25th of June. And if you remember, this week again we are continuing the contemplation and way of discrimination that our beautiful friend Pralhada was saying after he surrendered himself to Lord Vishnu, and he realized that who can protect me now after my father is not there. And then he realized that everything is getting protected by Lord Vishnu anyway, so why can't I just surrender to him? And after surrendering to him, he realized that in a simple way, I'm saying, he realized that the connection can happen only when that if I become a Lord Vishnu, then I will be able to surrender with him and I will be able to have a connection with him. So then he started realizing that he himself is a Vishnu, and he explored all the aspects of those subtlety and that amazing beautiful witness consciousness inside us, or the beyond witness consciousness as well, the real existence of who we are. And then he started contemplating and continuing that contemplation. We are now here on page number 170, 18th of June. So the Pralhada says, contemplating, at last the self, which is beyond all states or modes of consciousness, has been realized. Now understand this. What are the different modes or states of consciousness? Either you are conscious, you are unconscious, you are superconscious, you are subconscious. All these different things are there on the level of the consciousness. And he is saying, I realize the self which is beyond the states of consciousness. So whenever you are into that state of consciousness, right now you are conscious. Right now you are listening to me and you are conscious of listening to me. Now just understand and ask yourself, who is aware of the consciousness, being conscious of the ears of listening to me? See, I'm repeating again. Who is that witnessing the consciousness listening through the ears? And then you will start going beyond the consciousness, because that is a very, very different. And then again, you cannot have subject object or subject or object, or anything. There is no duality in there. So understand that. So till the time there is two and you are still holding yourself from the body mind perspective and thinking that yes, I am seeing this and I am doing this, till the time you are not getting it. The moment you will get it, it will be like a merging into the space, merging into yourself, merging into the infinite existence of yourself. So it's completely different and unexplainable state, I would say. So be careful. Till the time this is not getting the experience, till the time you are not getting it. So all you have to do is just keep going back till the time that oneness will form. So he is saying that, beyond all the states and modes of consciousness, I have seen that I am self. I salute you, I embrace you, but you is my friend, relative, and in this, you are the only my friend and relative in this three world. Sorry, you alone destroy, you alone protect. Now you alone destroy, you alone protect. So of course this makes sense. It is the consciousness is come out of that, and consciousness has manifested everything into the whole material world in and around you. So that everything dissolves into the consciousness, and consciousness is depending on that particular state of self. So everything is being destroyed, protected, praised, moved into the consciousness. Now, O self, the distinction between you as a self and the me is verbal, like the distinction between the world and the substance it refers to. And the distinction is unreal and imaginary, like the verbal distinction between the wave and the water in the wave. So understand this. Now, here also he is, means, okay, not here, but realize this, you are into that state, and in that state you cannot communicate with anyone, you cannot explain anything to anyone. And that's why, because you're just one, and once you are just one, then whom you are going to explain, whom you are going to tell all those things, whom you are going to share all those things. You share, and In that state, it's only pure silence. It's just silence, and it's just quietness, it's just stillness. You cannot even move anything in that, because this is that state is itself is like that. The movement starts the moment you are into that state of consciousness, whether you call it the individual consciousness or the infinite consciousness. The moment you come there, so to express yourself, you have to come out of that state. Okay, so when you are in that state, then again you are here, but you are not there, and then you start talking. So he is here, and then he's talking, and he's referring back that you, the self, and me. The distinction is verbal only. There is no actually difference in us. I'm just, for the sake, I'm just saying this state and that state, but everything is just one. Like the wave is coming, has got the existence, and wave is going down, the water becomes one with the water. For the certain amount of time, 1 2 3 4 5 10 seconds, when the wave is arising and falling down, in that the existence of the wave is there, but it can't say itself as a separate from the ocean. That's why this example is giving again and again. It's a verbal distinction. Oh, the wave is there, it's coming, it's going down, it's a big wave, it's a small wave, it's a water is white, water is blue, whatever we say that, but it's ultimately same water. So that's why he's saying the distinction is very much verbal. And for that, when you come to this level, then you refer it as you and me. But otherwise, in reality, there is no you and me when you are in the ultimate state. It's just one, and that's why you cannot express. That's why all the sages, masters, all the books, all the scriptures has been written after coming out of that state, referring to that state. That's why it gives you sometimes the idea of that state, but it will not give you the experience of that state until unless you yourself will start going into that state by your self-effort. Why Yoga Vasishtha is difficult for people to understand and follow? Because Yoga Vasishtha challenges you and asks you throw everything, all your rituals and traditions out of the your mind and your home, and just sit with yourself and experience your true state. And that's where the reality is. That's where the whole experience of the ultimate is. And that's where it's become challenging, difficult. Yet once you finish the journey, it becomes more rewarding, because then you don't have to be depending on anything else in your life for your own understanding of the truth. Understanding of the truth. Remember what I'm saying. Not about your pleasure, not about your happiness, not about your sadness. Sadness, happiness, pleasure, pain, everything is just happening on the level of the consciousness and mind. So you're going beyond that. So everything is same after that. You are not getting affected with that. Salutations. We will continue now. Salutations to myself, which is infinite and egoless. Salutations to the formless. Again, egoless, because ego exists on the level of the consciousness. The mind gets agitated, the senses begins to stir, and the energy begins to expand. The mind gets agitated. The consciousness is nothing but the mind. When the consciousness is conceptualized with the sense subject, then it becomes mind, and it gets agitated. The energy starts moving, and then setting the motion of the twin forces, prana and apana, to the modification of the life force. And then the energy moves through the senses, and you see the world. So all this is explaining into the detail now. This is wonderful, and if you can understand this, if you can see this happening inside you, nothing like that, nothing like that. However, I am pure consciousness, not dependent upon the body or anything else. Let this body rise or fall according to the desires, and that move in. In course of the time, ego sense arises, and in course of the time, ego sense ceases to be. In course of the time, ego sense arises. In course of the time, ego sense ceases. What is birth? Birth is nothing but the consciousness is conceptualizing itself and holding it as a ego sense, as the individual identity along with a particular body, and we call it as a birth. The body is moving with the consciousness and just experiencing the whole world, satisfying its own ego sense, satisfying its own desires, and the whole journey is going on. What is death? When the ego sense is dissolving and letting go of the hold of the body is not functioning, because the energy inside the body is moving away from it. The satisfaction of all the desires is happen or not happen on whatever state it is, and the consciousness is dissolving itself along with the ego and all that we call it as a death. So there is, in reality, there is no birth, no death. Why we say that, or why it's written in a scripture? Because it's just the same consciousness moving at one particular time. It just gets the urge and spontaneous happening about the ego sense arising in its wanted to experience the world, getting hold of the five senses and three gunas, making a body and leaving this for some time, using this body, dropping this body, and just dissolving itself. It's play of consciousness happening all the time in and around you. That is called birth and death. Abandon vanity, anger, impurity, and violence, for great souls are not overcome by such base qualities. And all these qualities are related to your mind and your body and your concepts and your consciousness, which is thinking it's individual. So let go of that, because this is not true. This is you, this is I. Such expressions are used when you yourself adore yourself or describe yourself for your own delights. You just adore yourself, that I am somebody, the entity, and then you say this is you, this is I, all those things. Happiness, sorrow collapse when they approach you. Even the darkness disappears when it approaches light. Happiness and sorrow collapse. So there are no duality remains. Duality is again depending on the concepts of the mind. I feel good, this is good for me. I feel bad, this is bad for me. What I feel bad could be the good for someone else. What I feel good could be the bad for someone else. So duality is an existence that is happening on the level of the mind, not on the level of the ultimate reality, on the level of the consciousness. Whenever there is a separation from that ultimate reality, all this duality you will see happening. Again, not making a big drama of that. You will see that you will just naturally going through the unfavorable condition and favorable condition. Unfavorable condition, people around you will react so weirdly, and you will just wonder, what's so big deal about that? It's just a happening. But that is what is the dispassion, and that is what is the truth. Gives you the power, stability, and understanding about knowing itself, knowing itself, that the duality happening on the level of. Now, after this contemplation, Pralhad enter into the state which there is no mental modification at all, where there is supreme bliss undisturbed by the movement of the thought. So the movement of the thought is nothing but the consciousness getting attached to the concepts and the objects, and then the thoughts are forming. Now, if that is stopped, and then you went to the level of the consciousness, and when you go a little bit beyond that, then of course there are no thoughts, there is no movement, there is no mental modification. So there is only bliss undisturbed by the movement of the thought. Now, can you experience this state? See, just experience this. Inside you right now, that state is there, because that state has been always be there. Before you are born, now you are there right now in you. After you will die, it is continuously always there as a background. And on that background, on that screen, the movement is happening, like you see the movies happening on the screen. The screen is there, but screen is not the movie. The movie is not the screen. The screen needs for the movie to get projected on it for you to see. Otherwise, the movies won't have the existence. The same way, that particular background, that screen, that subtle existence is always there for that consciousness to be depending on that, and the mind to function on the level with the help of the consciousness. So you can just go back and just experience all those things, and you will see, oh my goodness, inside me there is something subtle which is just witnessing. And the silence and quietness is nothing but the natural reaction to that. If the demons function as the enemies of the god and the religious, okay, then after that Vishnu thought, he just told Prahlad that you have to come out of that, and come out of that stage and naturally do whatever is that, because for this world to move ahead and all that, so he has to function as the demon's king. Vishnu approached where the Prahlad was seated, and noble man wake up, and then he said, and then he blew the conch, and then after that he talked to the Pralhada that that you just do whatever is you are supposed to do, even though you are in the body. Since you do not have the body, you are bodiless, you are the observer, which is immaterialized intelligence. You, as though the air exists in space, is not attached to the space, and hence is free from the spatial limitations. So he's saying you are free from all those things, and you are enlightened. Enlightened men, though they are constantly engaged in activity, do nothing. It is only means of inaction that they reach to the state of non-action. So the enlightened human beings are doing something, but inside you are not attached to all those things. So everything is happening spontaneously. You want something, I have something, I will give it to you. Somebody needs something, I can do, I will do it to you. I want something, I will just happen to have it for me and I will get it from. So all those things are just happening, whatever is the need of the body, mind, and you as a different individual entity existing, whatever is happening. Deep inside, there is a complete disconnection with that, it's not connected, and then that's why the spontaneity is there. But the spontaneity is not there in our life because our mind is always in a thought and we are judging this action is good or not good, this action is right or not right, this action I should do or I should not do. And in that debate, we are not conscious and spontaneous about what we should be doing naturally. To such an enlightened person, what is there to acquire or to renounce? For it is only when the notions of subject and object have ceased that there is a liberation. Subject and object has ceased. See, once when we talked about that state which is just there, which is silence, which is still, there is no subject, there is no object, because subject, existence of the subject is there because object is there. If there is no object, then what the subject is going to look at for? So this is very subtle to understand, that when there is nothing, then there is just one, and then after that, that's it. Pralhada said, after that, then Pralhada listened to that, all this what Vishnu was saying, and then, oh Pralhada, you have reached the plane of Vishnu and rule the nether world for the world cycle. So for the world cycle, for the world to go ahead, you just do what is naturally for you and you continue doing that. So after that, Pralhada contemplated on himself that I have attained to the realization in which there is no distinction between the contemplation and non-contemplation. So he is reached to the different level now altogether. Even the contemplation and non-contemplation do not have any existence in that level because words don't exist there. The duality don't exist there. There is nothing there, then whom you are going to contemplate and what you are going to contemplate. So contemplation and non-contemplation, though both doesn't exist there. You were seen by me for a long time within myself. Luckily, you are now seen in front of me. I have experienced the truth of infinite consciousness within myself, in which there is no sorrow, no delusion, no concern, no dispassion, no desire to abandon the body, or no fear of the world. When the world, one single reality is known, where is the sorrow, where is the destruction? Oh, I am disgusted with this world and I shall abandon it. Such thoughts arise into the ignorant person. And then there is no existence of the world and there is no existence and there is no duality. What you are going to drop, what you are going to abandon, what you are going to leave, This is pleasure, this is pain, this is truth. This is and this is not. Only the mind of the ignorant people swings in between these. I was naturally acquiring of myself in myself and rested just for the moment within any notions of being or non-being, of acquisition or rejection. I have attained the self-knowledge. Now I shall do whatever pleases me. Pray, accept my worship in adoration. Worship, adoration. So once you reach to that level, it's actually very interesting actually, and we have been now and then we had a glimpse of that level, consciously or unconsciously. We actually every now and then we experience that level unconsciously in a deep sleep. In a deep sleep, you have to go to that test state where you have forgotten everything that is come on you as a extra baggage. Your own consciousness, your individual consciousness, universal consciousness, whatever you call, whatever you name it, this ego sense, this body sense, this mind sense, this intellect, the memory, everything has come up on you and you have to let go of everything and you have to just rest into that. And that can happen only when you let that has to happen every day without fail for you to function for the next day. Otherwise, you will not be able to function for the next day. And then in that there is no duality, in that there is no two, in that there is no right or wrong, in that there is no pleasurable or unpleasurable thing. So that's why, you have to just experience that. That's what he's experiencing now. That's why he's contemplating on that and saying all that. Again, there is no contemplation, no non-contemplation. So then Rama asks, how is that, within the highest state of non-duality, he was awakened by the conch sound. And then the Vasishtha asks that there are liberation of two kinds. One is with the body, one is without the body. With the body also you are there, your body is there, but you are into that state, experiencing that state. Because you are there with the body, your body has got the senses, and the senses has got the objects to pursue through the senses. So whenever something happens around you, that awakens you and that brings you out of that state on the level of the body level. So that's what he was explaining there to him. In case of liberation with body, all the tendency that the mental conditions are like fried seeds incapable of giving the rise to the future embodiment, but there is still remains the condition of such purity, expansiveness and self-knowledge. Through even this conditioning is unintentional or non-volitional thing, and as long as the stress remains, a sage who is liberated with the body can be awakened to the world consciousness. So the same thing here is explained in little bit of difficult words, but you will understand that. It's on page number 175. The paragraph is in the middle. Then Rama again asks, why was he not able to attain the enlightenment without Vishnu's grace? So again, now this is a very good explanation he has given. Surely whatever Pralhada attained is through the self effort, okay? Oh Rama, not otherwise. Vishnu is the self, and the self is Vishnu. So whatever Prahlad attended, self-effort, and that self is Vishnu. So he was actually surrendering himself and going to that state inside him, which was inside everything and as a basis of everything. So he was surrendering to his Guru, he was surrendering to Vishnu, but he was not seeing Vishnu outside, he was not seeing Guru outside. So with Guru's grace, with Vishnu's grace, when we say that the subtlety that he is experiencing through his body-mind complexity, that has become his own Guru, that has become his own Vishnu, and with that grace he understood the illusion that was there has been dropped by. So that's what Vasishtha is explaining in here. At times one attains self-knowledge through the self-inquiry and awakens through the self-effort. At times this self-effort manifests as a devotion to Vishnu, who alone is also a self, and thus one attains the enlightenment. So everything is just inside you, in or as you, and nothing exists outside you. Hence, adore the self by the self, worship the self by the self, behold the self by the self, and firmly established by the self in the self. Again, this is a very different state. This is not an egoistic thing that you are saying, oh, I am everything, I am self, I am self. No. This is like that one entity in which in your body is also functioning, in your mind is functioning, so that individuality is getting dropped completely. When he is saying, I am everything, or when Krishna said, I am the one, surrender to me. Jesus said, if you have to go to the Father, go through me. Buddha said, Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Everybody said that. We were talking from that state where everything is just one, and all these things of different individual living creatures and human beings looks like the bubbles in the water, waves in the ocean. So they were not talking on the wave level or on the bubble level. They were talking on a very subtle level where they see that I am just in that state and I am alone there. There is no one there, and in me lots of things are arising and lots of things are falling, including this body, including that body, including all the bodies, and they were not affected by that. But when they came to the conscious state and they started talking about that, they still refer themselves as I am there everywhere, in and out you, in and out me. So that was not the I as an individual body, it was the I as the ultimate reality, the self as the ultimate reality. 24th of June, Vasishtha continues, O Rama, this cycle of birth and death is interminable one, and this Maya ceases only by the mastery of one's own heart, not otherwise. To illustrate this, there is a legend which I shall present to narrate to you. Another story is coming up now. Wonderful story. There was a region called Kosla, and in that there was a Brahmana living known as Gadhi. And then he wanted to behold Vishnu entering the. He wanted to find out some answers for him from Vishnu. So he entered into the water of the river, and there he began to recite various mantras for a long time. And after 8 months, Lord Vishnu gave him the darshan, or appeared in front of him and asked him for a boon. And he said, I wish to behold your own image, illusory power, which deludes all the beings and keep them in ignorance. So I want to understand this Maya. Vishnu said, okay, fine, no problem. Again, he surrendered to himself, and from inside that supreme consciousness, the absolute, is blessing him the power to understand this Maya. So again, don't get confused with one person again asking Vishnu a boon and all that. It's happening only inside that. And then after that he said, and then there is a beautiful story goes like, he was still meditating in the river, but then he saw himself dead, and then all the relatives came, and then they performed his rituals. And then after that he was still in the meditating in the river, where he saw he has gone, as he's gone into the tribal woman, and in course of time he's born there as a tribal man. And then he continues, then he goes to one place where the elephant picks him as a king, and then he continues there, and the tribal men come there, and one of them recognizes him and says, oh, you are Katanja, and you are one of the tribal men like us. And then he realizes that, and then then the king Gavala, his name changes to King Gavala. He reflects on himself. Alas, this is brought about by me. Why should I continue to live? Death is perishable to life for one who is dishonored by the people. By the people, death is better for me. Gavala calmly offered his body into the fire, immersed into the water of rivers, and regain his consciousness. So that Maya was so illusory, so confusing, so powerful, and so disturbing for him, we can say like that, that when he realized that there is no point that me keep experiencing this Maya, who has got multi-million, multi-billion, infinite folds and different states and shades of it. And then when he realizes, he decided himself to find the answer and merge into the supreme consciousness. And then the story continues that who am I, what I see, and how he concluded, because of the figure fatigued his mind and obviously played some tricks on him. He thought surely all this is illusion. And then after this it continues how he is contemplating and understanding that coming out of the Maya and the play of the Maya. He will explain that, but that is happening for next time. Right now we finished the contemplation that Pralhada was saying. Amazingly important and wonderful way of understanding the true nature within ourselves. So don't just listen, keep thinking, keep understanding, keep challenging the changing unreality inside you, for you to understand the unchanging reality inside you. And on that note, we will see you next time. Jai Gurudev.